If you're over 45 and you feel like the news affects you more than usual, that noises overwhelm you, that your patience has run out, I want to tell you something. You're not losing your mind. Your body and your nervous system are going through a real transformation. At this age, the margin for error gets smaller, and what we used to process normally can now overwhelm us. Today we're going to learn how to build a strong, resilient nervous system. Not through willpower, but by making small changes so that your own biology, your body, supports you in the midst of those crises. Let's stick to the pillars many of you like. Pillar 1, high quality fuel. In moments of crisis or anxiety, the brain is a machine that consumes energy at extremely high levels. And if we give it low quality fuel at that moment, like flour or sugar, what we're doing is basically throwing gasoline on the fire. Those insulin spikes caused by these types of foods create more nervousness and palpitations. Within this first pillar, what do we have? Magnesium as a priority. It's the relaxation mineral par excellence. If you feel tense, you're lacking magnesium. Add pumpkin seeds, almonds, spinach, dark chocolate, my favorite, and avocado to your diet. Sometimes a piece of dark chocolate, 70% in the afternoon, isn't a sin, it's a balm for your neurons. Healthy fat. The brain is mostly fat. If you eat a lot of light or fat-free foods, your neurons are unprotected. Avocado, coconut oil, and nuts help to coat those neurons. It's like putting electrical tape on an exposed wire. The electrical communication improves, and that feeling of being on edge decreases. Always keep in mind that these foods are not magic. If you don't stop consuming excess flour and sugars, which are what cause everything to become inflamed and uncontrollable, and also make your body take more than 48 hours to cleanse itself. So sometimes we say, well, I ate fine today, I don't understand why I feel bad, or why I had an anxiety attack, or why I'm anxious, or why... Well, it's because it's not what you ate last night, but what you ate more than 2 days ago. Sometimes the body takes a long time to process all the bombs we keep throwing at it, and that's why sometimes we don't see it right away. And we think, well, if I had soup, how can I feel like this? Yes, but what did we have 2 days before the soup, for example? 3. Salt water. Many times, and most of the time, what we call anxiety is actually cellular dehydration. If your heart beats too fast, or you often have tremors, what we sometimes call anxiety attacks or panic attacks, many times it can be due to a lack of potassium, sodium, or magnesium. In those moments of crisis, a pinch of salt under your tongue and drinking water, or drinking water with salt, can calm that crisis in minutes because it balances your body's electricity. Pillar 2. We're going to make a natural emergency kit. When that mental whirlwind starts to rise, we need some tools on hand that act directly on the brain's receptors. That's why a passion flower infusion could help us a lot. We can also have a valerian infusion or combine them. They are powerful natural anxiolytics that the earth gives us. Taking them just as the sun goes down sets the stage so that the mind doesn't race when you go to bed. Golden milk can also help us a lot. Coconut or almond milk with a little turmeric and a pinch of pepper. That black pepper is to activate the turmeric. We can add a little cinnamon, coconut oil. Inflammation in the body, silent inflammation, is one of the causes of anxiety, and this drink puts out that internal fire. Another option that I have recommended several times in other older videos is linden. But here I'm going to make an aside, because with linden, when we drink linden, I don't recommend at all the store-bought infusions. I mean the tea bag infusions sold in supermarkets. In general, I never recommend this type of infusions. Instead, try to go to a herbalist and buy the dried herb. Or even better, what I did for a long time when I suffered a lot from anxiety and panic attacks, what I did was set an alarm on my phone. I think it was November, October. Sometimes Roma and I would go out to harvest linden. In Buenos Aires, there's a lot of it. we would pick the linden, the flower with the 2 little leaves, and we would lay it out on a table to dry in the shade. And when it was nice and crispy, it was ready. I would store it to keep it in a jar or a bag, and from there I would take out just a little bit at a time. For 1 cup, 2 flowers with 2 little leaves is more than enough. Whenever you make the infusion, you have to be careful that the water doesn't boil, but that it's not too hot either. You put in the flowers, pour in the warm water, cover it, let it sit for 5 to 7 minutes, no more than that, then you remove the leaves. Warm, and it's a caress for the soul. Linden with these characteristics really helps a lot. If possible, harvest it yourself, but make sure it's the dried leaf, not the stuff that comes in tea bags, which is often junk, really, and this is going to help us a lot. I've also talked a lot about magnesium citrate in many videos, and if not, there's plenty of information online about how to find your dose and what to use. Some people tolerate magnesium citrate better, others prefer magnesium threonate, and some take magnesium chloride. But the important thing, beyond which one you choose, is that it suits you better or has the characteristics you're looking for. It's important to find the right dose, and you do that little by little, right? For example, buy magnesium citrate powder. Put 1 gram, which is just a tiny bit of a teaspoon, into a small glass of water and drink it with water. Do this for 2 or 3 days. Then add a little more until you reach about half a teaspoon. Then you keep taking it for 4 or 5 more days, and if you see that nothing happens, add a little more until you reach a full teaspoon of that magnesium citrate. And when you get a little diarrhea or mild diarrhea, let's say this is telling us that it's cleansing, because it's not diarrhea from an infection, it's caused by a slight excess of magnesium. When that diarrhea comes, we know it's the previous dose. If we took 3 grams, well, it should have been 2.5 grams. We always increase by half a gram every 2, 3, or 4 days to find the right dose. That's the way to do it. This is being explained very quickly, but there are specific videos, for example, on Frank Suarez's channel, where he explains very well how to find the right dose. How do you find your magnesium dose? Because each person has a different deficiency and a different dose. Pillar 4, rest. At our age, rest is not about doing nothing. It's a deliberate act to reduce sensory overload. For example, 0 screens. At sunset, we already know that blue light lies to your brain and tells it that it's noon. That blocks the magic of melatonin and keeps the alert system on, which doesn't benefit us because it disrupts our entire nervous system. Equally important, emptying your mind before going to sleep. Write your fears and your shoulds on a piece of paper. Yes, write to yourself. Write down what you need to do, what you forgot to do, what you remembered, and what your fears are. Write everything down, put it on paper before you go to sleep, because if it's in your notebook, it doesn't have to be in your head anymore. And your brain gets permission to let its guard down, to stop holding on to ideas. So I don't forget this, so I don't forget that I have to buy milk tomorrow because I have to make dessert for so-and-so's birthday. So I don't forget to pay the credit card bill because otherwise something will expire. I write down all my shoulds in a notebook, or even my fears. If I'm having a lot of fears, a lot of anxiety about certain circumstances in my life, I also write them down. I imagine that by writing them, I'm putting them in a box. And I give that to a higher intelligence to take it away and resolve it. That way I can rest, and you'll see that magically, even if you don't believe it, it gets resolved. 3 mindful micro breaks throughout the day, just 3 little minutes to observe our breathing. To observe what surrounds us, to name it. This is a table, this is a chair, it's sunny outside. That is bringing my brain to the present moment, and that tells your vagus nerve through your brain that there is no real danger. And we're also going to talk about the power of fermented foods. It has already been scientifically proven that there is a direct connection between fear and the gut problems. If your microbiota is unhealthy, you will produce more cortisol, which in short is stress. That's why having a little kefir, a little kombucha, a little sauerkraut daily in your diet will make a difference. Because these help produce serotonin, which would be the opposite. This would be the peace hormone, and it is mostly produced in the gut. Now, what I want to share with you is a quick routine, a 24-hour emergency routine when we're very stressed, when
estamos con picos de nervios, cuando estamos
with panic attacks in the morning when you wake up, a complete fast from news and screens. I'm not going to read any news. I'm not going to listen to any neighbors, any gossip, any news that something like that has happened. Don't look at WhatsApp, don't look at your phone. We wake up and drink a glass of water with salt, with a pinch, 2 pinches of salt, and we're used to having more salt.
ya está en nuestro proceso de salud.
We add a little more, and after a while, we move on to breakfast. And we're going to have eggs for breakfast, but if we don't like eggs, we'll have something else for breakfast. Cheese, but aged cheese, the kind that's been aged for a long time. Not creamy cheese, not those quick cheeses, and not spreadable cheese. None at all, please, because otherwise it's counterproductive. It's instant inflammation. So only if we don't like eggs would we move on to eating a bit of cheese, but it has to be hard cheese, aged cheese. At lunch, if possible, have a small portion, eat protein. It could be a steak, a hamburger, a piece of chicken, or a piece of fish. And we're going to add, for example, a spinach salad with avocado and a little bit of tomato. And if we want, we can add some carbohydrates. For example, a few baked potatoes, or we can make a pumpkin or squash puree, and this is going to make us feel really, really good. We don't eat bread, we don't add any refined flours, and we don't have dessert after lunch. Those of us who are already supplementing with magnesium citrate, or magnesium threonate, or magnesium glycinate, or any of its forms. But with magnesium, we do it at this time, always before 6 in the evening, and in my experience, the best thing is to supplement with magnesium. Or if you take potassium or vitamin C, or whenever it's after lunch, when the afternoon comes, no matter what, we're going to do at least 15 minutes of walking alone, calmly, slowly. I'm looking for health and peace. I'm not looking to change my body. I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm looking for calm. If I can, if I have a suitable place. I take off my shoes and put my feet on the ground, put my feet on the grass. That helps us ground ourselves. If I'm really anxious for something sweet, I eat a little piece, look like this, tiny like this, of 70% dark chocolate, which is low in sugar, but it gives us that bitterness and that message to the brain that everything is okay. At sunset, we can have a golden milk, like the ones I just mentioned, or we can simply have a linden herbal tea. And write in a notebook all my shoulds, all my fears, take it easy, all my reflections, take that time for myself. When night comes, if we feel energetic, we can take a warm shower with the bathroom nice and warm if possible and feel renewed. We can also soak our feet for a little while in warm water with salt, which helps a lot. And we still avoid any screens or news at all. We start dimming the lights in our home. And something I want to tell you is that it's normal to feel like you can't handle this in the middle of a crisis, a nervous breakdown, or a panic attack. But remember that your body has an amazing ability to renew and regenerate itself, and you're not sick, nothing bad is happening to you. There are signals from your body, whether it's to pay attention to your diet or to what's happening in your gut. But above all, what caused all those things? What brought you to that point? In what ways are you pressuring yourself? In what ways are you demanding too much from yourself? What is making you so nervous and so anxious?
Angustiado.
We need to reflect, not to dig into the past because there's no point in stirring things up, but to build a better future for ourselves from the present. Change your habits, because usually when you're sad, when you're anxious, when you're under pressure, you tend to eat poorly because you're always in a rush. So instead of stopping and making ourselves a homemade meal or real food, we buy a hot dog anywhere, eat a hamburger, or make a quick pizza. And we think that we're nourishing ourselves with that, but we're actually making things worse because this causes insulin spikes and things like that. And for those who are already going through a process of nervousness, crisis, panic, or anxiety, all these foods work against you, 1000%. They will make that process of nervousness, which maybe was only going to last a day or two, might last you a month, 2 months, maybe even longer, because then we start to be afraid of the symptom. We start to be afraid of being afraid, or we start to feel afraid that a panic attack might come. So as soon as we feel any kind of symptom similar to what we felt before, our memory and our survival system make us afraid of fear again. That's why it's very important as soon as we feel a crisis like this to stop, make an effort, take it seriously, because our body is asking us to calm down, it's asking us to stop. So stop, change your diet, eat cleaner, eat real food, eat less. Give it more fasting time whenever possible, so that during that fasting period the body can really recover and restore itself. Because always, 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 the one who will heal us is the body, not the pill, not the doctor, not the advice. Not advice on YouTube, it's not even the food, it's always the body. The body is what brings you back to center, the body is what restores whatever is not working right inside you, right? I mean, whatever it is. That's why it's important to support the body and not fill it with food and processed foods and stuff. On top of having to recover, it also has to digest everything we're sending it. It has to do double the work, it has to spend so much energy, it has to work double shifts when it's exhausted. So, what we have to do is make things easier for our body, which will do the work, and trust that our body will get us out of any crisis. If we give it the space and we give it the energy, we give it the fuel it needs. Well, and I would like you to leave me a comment about how you feel regarding this, because you came to this video for a reason. Surely you are either going through a difficult time of stress or anxiety or nervousness. So I want you to tell me, and I also want those who have learned to surf the waves to tell me what you have done, what has worked for you. Let's turn this comment section below the video into a mini community where we help each other solve these conflicts, these crises together, because we can all give advice that helps someone else. My name is Dana Aguilar, and if you want to deepen the connection between body, mind, and spirit, I'll be waiting for you on my other channel, Portal Coherencia. I'll leave a little card here so you can go check it out. And of course, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up because it really helps this video reach more people, and also to share it. And that's all for now. See you next time. Bye.